Hi everyone. So, the subject I'll be handling for you people in this particular semester is Unix programming. So, it is one of the fascinating subject. You are going to learn a lot of things in this particular subject, and the things you are going to learn in this particular subject are very much interesting. So, you will be intrigued to learn a lot of new things, which will be very much fascinating for you people. So the subject code for this particular subject is 18CS56. This is the last theoretical subject for this particular semester. So in this particular class, I won't like to jump into the syllabus right away, because before starting the syllabus, I need you people to get some basic understanding with respect to Unix programming. I need you people to understand first what is Unix, how it is different. Rather than saying how it is different, I need you people to understand what actually do you mean by Unix. What are all the things you are going to learn in Unix? How these particular things will go to help you when you work in an industry, because the things you are going to learn in this particular subject plays a vital role. It plays an important role whenever you are working in any particular IT industry. So in this session, I will give a brief introduction and some basic concepts or some basics tips with respect to Unix programming. So let me tell that this introduction session class can get extended to next class also, or next session. So once we complete all the introductory part, then we shall move on to the syllabus. Okay. So first of all, before moving into a term called as Unix, I need you people to answer what is an operating system, because you guys are already familiar with the term called as operating system. In your previous semester, you have gone through this particular subject called operating system. What is an operating system? An operating system is nothing but a set of programs. A set of programs which are mainly designed for the hardware components. What are all the hardware components? It might be your keyboard, it might be your mouse, so it might be your printer, so it might be your CPU. These are all the hardware components. So these hardware components needs to interact with the user. So for those hardware components to establish an interaction with the user, we need a bridge or we need an interface. That bridge or an interface which establishes connection between the users and the hardware components is called as an operating system. So those operating system is nothing but a set of programs which establishes connection between the hardware components and the user. So the user is going to interact with the hardware components through your operating system. So whenever you come across a term called a set of programs, that represents a software. So I can call my operating system as a software. Your operating system will be installed. So in your into your system, once an operating system is installed, then your system is ready to be worked. So once operating system gets installed, you can make sure that you can interact with the hardware components with an entity called as operating system. These are all the things, basic things you learned in your previous semester. So there are many operating systems. So going back to many years, there are many different operating systems. Those many different operating system broadly can be classified as, or broadly can be named as, DOS, disk operating system, and the familiar one, which is Windows. So apart from these two operating system, there is one more major operating system which is playing a vital role in this particular era or in this particular industry. That major operating system is called as Unix. Yes, you heard it right. Unix is basically an operating system. So that means the way in which you interact with the hardware components through your operating system, that operating system can also be Unix. So then you might come up with a question, how Unix is different from the operating system Windows. ಯೂನಿಕ್ಸ್ ಯಾವ ರೀತಿ ವಿಂಡೋಸ್ಗಿಂತ ಡಿಫ್ರೆಂಟ್ ಆಗಿದೆ ಅಂತ ಒಂದು ಕ್ವಶನ್ ಕೇಳ್ಬೋದು ನೀವು. ಸೊ ಆ ಡೀಟೇಲ್ಸ್ಗಳನ್ನ ಜೊತೆಗೆ ಅಪಾರ್ಟ್ ಫ್ರಮ್ ದಿಸ್ ಡೀಟೇಲ್ಸ್ ಐ ವಿಲ್ ಗೋ ಇನ್ ಟು ದ ಬೇಸಿಕ್ ಇಂಟ್ರಡಕ್ಷನ್ ಆಫ್ ಯೂನಿಕ್ಸ್. What actually is Unix, how it works, why we need Unix, what are the advantages of Unix over Windows, how Unix is playing a major role in this particular IT industries. Those are all the things we are going to cover in this particular session. So once you get a clear-cut idea with respect to how Unix is playing a role in major IT industries, then you will become fascinated and very much interested to learn about the subject called as Unix. So as I had already told, Unix is an operating system. So what is an operating system? It is a set of programs. What we call a set of programs, it is called as a software. So Unix was basically developed in the year 1969 at A&T Laboratories. They will also term this AT&T Laboratories as Bell Laboratories. It was developed by a person named Dennis Ritchie. So the next question I was discussing earlier, that is how Unix is different from Windows. The two major features, or I can say there are three major features in Unix which makes Unix to be somewhat above when compared to Windows. Unix also has its own advantages, but when it comes to Unix, these three major features plays a major role. Which are those three major features? The first one is multi-user capability. That means even when a single, consider there are 10 systems, in a single system I have installed an operating system called as Unix. One single system alli Unix anta operating system na install ಮಾಡಿದೆ. The 9 remaining systems are only terminals, or I can say you are having only the monitors or keyboard. There are no CPUs with those 9 systems. Only the first system has the CPU with the Unix operating system installed. Remaining 9 systems won't have any CPU. They are just having the terminals, or I can say monitors. In such a time, all those 9 systems which don't have any CPU or any operating system can connect to the system in which Unix operating system is installed. And all those 9 different users, all those 9 different systems can simultaneously connect with the system which has Unix operating system. This is what is called as multi-user capability. So that means multiple users can simultaneously access or can simultaneously log in to a single system. So we are having one system which has an operating system. The rest of the system are not having any operating system. They are just having the terminal. They are just having the monitor. All those different systems can log into the system which has an operating system simultaneously. This is one of the major feature of Unix operating system, which is multi-user capable of logging into a single system simultaneously. The next feature is multitasking. That means all those users who are logged into the single system can perform their task irrespective of the other task being performed. So you are performing multiple tasks at a single time. So also in a single system, multiple tasks can be performed. So this is one of the major feature with respect to Unix operating system. So the two major features with respect to Unix operating system are multi-user capability and multitasking. And the next feature which plays a major role is security. Your Unix operating system is very much secure. You people might have seen in our labs, whenever you are using an Unix operating system, the chances of the system getting attacked with the virus is very much less. But that is not the case with respect to Windows operating system. Your Windows operating system is highly vulnerable. It can be easily attacked with a virus, but your Unix operating system is completely different. It is completely secure. How we are going to achieve that security, those details we are going to see in our further sessions, or I will just give a glimpse of how security is achieved in the remaining part of this particular session. So these are the three major features of Unix operating system which made Unix operating system to stand out from an operating system called as Windows. Which are those three major features? Multi-users. Multiple users can simultaneously log into a system, so and they can access the resources. Which is the second feature? Multiple tasks can be done simultaneously. And which is the third feature? Security. Your Unix operating system is very much secure than compared to the counterpart, which is your Windows operating system. So you might have got an idea with respect to Unix. What is an Unix? It is an operating system. Just like Windows, it is an operating system. But how Unix behaves, it is completely different. Unix has its own ways in dealing with the things. It has its own features which are quite advantageous than compared to Windows operating system. Now we shall look into all those details. So some of the basic concepts when it comes to Unix, it is a powerful operating system. Just I already mentioned, it has major features. It has many more features. I just listed the three features. It has many such more features which makes that particular operating system to be very much powerful than compared to Windows. Some of the features I just mentioned was multiple user, multitasking, and security. And one more important feature with respect to Unix is it can literally run on every hardware system. Your Windows operating system won't work like that. Your Windows operating system has its own limitations. It cannot run on any hardware system, but your Unix operating system can be installed on any system irrespective of the hardware it is having. Whatever might be the hardware, your Unix operating system can be installed on every system. So next, the major difference with respect to your Unix operating system and Windows operating system is that the interaction part. How we interact with the system. I am an user. As an user, I need to interact with the system. Only when I interact with the system, I can perform some actions. Correct, right? Without interacting with the system, I cannot perform any actions. So how we can interact with the system? Through an operating system. That operating system informs the hardware to perform the specified task. So whenever you are interacting with the Windows operating system, it is graphical based method, or I can say graphical user interface based method. That means there will be some specified icons. You can click on that particular icon and an action will be performed. So if suppose there is a Microsoft Word icon, when you click on Microsoft Word icon, the application gets opened. So you can key in you can write some things in the Microsoft Word, then you can close the Microsoft window application, Microsoft Word application. When you click on the close button, the application closes. So everything you are interacting with the system is with the help of graphics. Your Windows operating system provides some graphical tools. provide some graphical interface. Through that graphical interface, you are interacting with the system. So that how it happens in Windows operating system. But it is entirely different when it comes to Unix operating system. You might have judged already how it might be different. So that means your Unix operating system won't be graphical based. Your Unix operating system won't be graphical based. So if it is not graphical based, what it will be? It will be in terms of commands. So you are going to give commands to your Unix operating system. Once commands are given to the Unix operating system, based on the command you are giving to the Unix operating system, it will execute a specified task. ನಾನು ಏನ್ ಕಮಾಂಡ್ ಕೊಡ್ತೀನಿ ಆ ಕಮಾಂಡ್ ಮುಖಾಂತರ ಆ ಕಮಾಂಡ್ ಏನಾದ್ರೂ ಒಂದೊಂದು ಕಮಾಂಡ್ ಏನಿದೆ ಆ ಒಂದೊಂದು ಕಮಾಂಡ್ ಒಂದೊಂದು ಪ್ರೋಗ್ರಾಮ್. ಈಚ್ ಆಫ್ ದ ಕಮಾಂಡ್ ಇಸ್ ಎ ಪ್ರೋಗ್ರಾಮ್. ಸೊ ಆ ಪ್ರೋಗ್ರಾಮ್ ನ ಮೊದಲೇ ಆ ಯುನಿಕ್ಸ್ ಆಪರೇಟಿಂಗ್ ಸಿಸ್ಟಮ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಸ್ಟೋರ್ ಮಾಡಿ ಇಟ್ಟಿರ್ತೀವಿ. ಸೊ ನಾನು ಸ್ಟೋರ್ ಆಗಿರುವಂತ ಯುನಿಕ್ಸ್ ಆಪರೇಟಿಂಗ್ ಸಿಸ್ಟಮ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಸ್ಟೋರ್ ಆಗಿರುವಂತ ಕಮಾಂಡ್ ನೇ ನಾನು ಕೀ ಇನ್ ಮಾಡಿದ್ರೆ, ಟೈಪ್ ಮಾಡಿದ್ರೆ, ಕರೆಸ್ಪಾಂಡಿಂಗ್ ಟಾಸ್ಕ್ ಏನಾಗಬೇಕು ಆ ಟಾಸ್ಕ್ implement ಆಗುತ್ತೆ. So you are going to interact with the system or with the operating system by giving commands. So it is a command based interface. It is not a graphical based interface. The interaction takes place with the help of commands. Suppose I need to perform a large task. ನಾನು ಒಂದು ಯಾವುದೋ ಒಂದು large task ನ perform ಮಾಡಬೇಕು, ದೊಡ್ಡ task. So in order to perform that large task, I can give a sequence of commands. Those sequence of commands will be interpreted and it will get executed. So a large task ಏನಿದೆ ಅದು execution ಆಗುತ್ತೆ. ಒಂದು ಕ್ಲಿಯರ್ ಕಟ್ ಐಡಿಯಾ ಬಂತು ಅಂತ ಅನ್ಕೋತೀನಿ. ನಿಮ್ದು ಯೂನಿಕ್ಸ್ ಏನು, it is an operating system. Just like Windows, it is an operating system. But it has some features which are different from Unix. Those features are more advantageous than compared to Windows. Which are those features? Multi-user capability, multitasking capability, more secure than Windows. Second, and the fourth feature is it can literally run on every hardware, not like Windows. And also in Windows, you are going to communicate with the system with the help of graphical user interface. But here, in order to communicate with the system, we should give commands. So those commands will be understood by the system and then it will be executed. In order to execute a large task, we are going to give a sequence of commands. Those sequence of commands will be understood and it gets executed. So ಈ ತರ ನಿಮ್ದು execution part, ಈ ತರ ನಿಮ್ದು interaction. In this way, the interaction actually takes place between a user and a Unix operating system. Graphical based ಏನು ಇರಲ್ಲ, it is purely in terms of commands. So ನೀವು next question ಕೇಳಬಹುದು, ಸರ್ ನಾನು ಏನೋ ಕಮಾಂಡ್ಸ್ ಕೊಟ್ಬಿಡ್ತೀನಿ, I am giving some commands, but how it gets executed? So for that to happen, there is a special component called as command interpreter. This command interpreter can also be called as shell. ಇದನ್ನ ನಾನು shell ಅಂತ ಕರೀಬಹುದು. How this particular command interpreter works? This command interpreter works in such a way that whenever I am giving some command, ಏನೋ ಒಂದು particular examples ನಾನು next ತಗೊಂಡಿದ್ದೀನಿ ಏನೇನು examples ಇದೆ ಅಂತ. So I am not going to burden you people with lot many things. So let's go step by step. So I am giving some command. Let's name the command as ABC. ಆ ತರ ಕಮಾಂಡ್ ಇಲ್ಲ, ಬಟ್ ನಿಮ್ಮ ಎಕ್ಸಾಂಪಲ್ಗೆ ABC ಅಂತ ಒಂದು ಕಮಾಂಡ್ ಕೊಡ್ತೇನೆ. ಈ ABC ಅಂತ ಕಮಾಂಡ್ ಕೊಟ್ಟ ತಕ್ಷಣ ನಿಮ್ ಕಮಾಂಡ್ ಇಂಟರ್ಪ್ರಿಟರ್ ಏನಿರುತ್ತೆ ನಿಮ್ದು ಯುನಿಕ್ಸ್ ಆಪರೇಟಿಂಗ್ ಸಿಸ್ಟಮ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಇರುತ್ತೆ, ಅದನ್ನ ಶೆಲ್ ಅಂತಾನು ಕರೀತೀವಿ. ದಿಸ್ ಪರ್ಟಿಕ್ಯುಲರ್ ಕಮಾಂಡ್ ಇಂಟರ್ಪ್ರಿಟರ್ ಆರ್ ದ ಶೆಲ್ ವಿಲ್ ಚೆಕ್ ಫಾರ್ ದ ಕಮಾಂಡ್. ABC ಅಂತ ಪರ್ಟಿಕ್ಯುಲರ್ ಕಮಾಂಡ್ ನನ್ನ ಯುನಿಕ್ಸ್ ಆಪರೇಟಿಂಗ್ ಸಿಸ್ಟಮ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಇದೆಯಾ ಅಂತ ಚೆಕ್ ಮಾಡುತ್ತೆ. ಸೊ ಆ ಯುನಿಕ್ಸ್ ಆಪರೇಟಿಂಗ್ ಸಿಸ್ಟಮ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಇದೆ ಅಂದ್ರೆ ABC ಅಂತ ಕಮಾಂಡ್ ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಇಟ್ ಇಸ್ ನಥಿಂಗ್ ಬಟ್ ಎ ಪ್ರೋಗ್ರಾಮ್. ಒಂದು ಕಮಾಂಡ್ ಆ ಪ್ರೋಗ್ರಾಮ್ ರೀತಿ ಸ್ಟೋರ್ ಆಗಿದೆ ಅಂತ ಚೆಕ್ ಮಾಡುತ್ತೆ. ಸಪೋಸ್ ಸ್ಟೋರ್ ಆಗಿತ್ತು ಯುನಿಕ್ಸ್ ಆಪರೇಟಿಂಗ್ ಸಿಸ್ಟಮ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ABC ಅಂತ ಪ್ರೋಗ್ರಾಮ್ ಇತ್ತು. ಈಗ ABC ಅನ್ನೋ ಪ್ರೋಗ್ರಾಮ್ ನ ಎಕ್ಸಿಕ್ಯೂಟ್ ಮಾಡಬೇಕು. ಅವಾಗ ನಿಮ್ದು ಕಮಾಂಡ್ ಇಂಟರ್ಪ್ರಿಟರ್ ಏನ್ ಮಾಡುತ್ತೆ, ಆಪರೇಟಿಂಗ್ ಸಿಸ್ಟಮ್ಗೆ ಇನ್ಫಾರ್ಮ್ ಮಾಡುತ್ತೆ. ಆಪರೇಟಿಂಗ್ ಸಿಸ್ಟಮ್ ಅಂದ್ರೇನು, ಕರ್ನಲ್. ಕರ್ನಲ್ ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಕೋರ್, ದಟ್ ಈಸ್ ದ ಕೋರ್ ಆಫ್ ಯುವರ್ ಆಪರೇಟಿಂಗ್ ಸಿಸ್ಟಮ್. ಅಲ್ಲೇ ಎಲ್ಲ ಎಕ್ಸಿಕ್ಯೂಷನ್ಸ್ ಆಗುತ್ತೆ. ಸೊ ಅವಾಗ ನಿಮ್ ಕರ್ನಲ್ಗೆ ಇನ್ಫಾರ್ಮ್ ಮಾಡುತ್ತೆ ಆ ಕಮಾಂಡ್ ಇಂಟರ್ಪ್ರಿಟರ್. ಆ ಕರ್ನಲ್ ABC ಅನ್ನೋ ಪ್ರೋಗ್ರಾಮ್ ನ ಎಕ್ಸಿಕ್ಯೂಟ್ ಮಾಡಿ ಏನ್ ಡಿಸೈರ್ಡ್ ಔಟ್ಪುಟ್ ಬರ್ಬೇಕಿತ್ತು ಔಟ್ಪುಟ್ ನ ಪ್ರೊಡ್ಯೂಸ್ ಮಾಡುತ್ತೆ. ಸೊ ದಿಸ್ ಈಸ್ ಹೌ ದ ಎಕ್ಸಿಕ್ಯೂಷನ್ ಟೇಕ್ಸ್ ಪ್ಲೇಸ್. So whenever you are giving some commands, that command will be interpreted by the shell, which is nothing but the command interpreter. ಸೊ ಆ ಇಂಟರ್ಪ್ರಿಟೇಷನ್ ಆದ್ಮೇಲೆ ಈ ABC ಅನ್ನೋ ಕಮಾಂಡ್ ಇದೆ ಅಂತ ಗೊತ್ತಾದ್ಮೇಲೆ ಅದು ಕರ್ನಲ್ಗೆ ಇನ್ಫಾರ್ಮ್ ಮಾಡುತ್ತೆ, ಆಪರೇಟಿಂಗ್ ಸಿಸ್ಟಮ್ಗೆ ಇನ್ಫಾರ್ಮ್ ಮಾಡುತ್ತೆ. ನಿಮ್ ಕರ್ನಲ್ ಅಥವಾ ಆಪರೇಟಿಂಗ್ ಸಿಸ್ಟಮ್ ಆ ABC ಅನ್ನೋ ಕಮಾಂಡ್ ನ ಎಕ್ಸಿಕ್ಯೂಟ್ ಮಾಡಿ ಏನ್ ಔಟ್ಪುಟ್ ಕೊಡ್ಬೇಕು ಆ ಔಟ್ಪುಟ್ ನ ರಿಟರ್ನ್ ಮಾಡುತ್ತೆ. ಸೊ ದಿಸ್ ಈಸ್ ಹೌ ದ ಎಕ್ಸಿಕ್ಯೂಷನ್ ಟೇಕ್ಸ್ ಪ್ಲೇಸ್. ನಿಮ್ಗೆ ವಿಂಡೋಸ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಯಾವ್ದಾದ್ರು ಒಂದು ಮೈಕ್ರೋಸಾಫ್ಟ್ ವರ್ಡ್ ಅಪ್ಲಿಕೇಶನ್ ಕ್ಲೋಸ್ ಮಾಡಿದ ತಕ್ಷಣ ಕ್ಲೋಸ್ ಆಗ್ಬಿಡುತ್ತೆ. ಬಟ್ ಆ ಕ್ಲೋಸ್ ಮಾಡೋದನ್ನ ಇಲ್ಲಿ ಕಮಾಂಡ್ ಮುಖಾಂತರ ಅಚೀವ್ ಮಾಡ್ತೀವಿ ಅಷ್ಟೇ. ಸೊ ಆಕ್ಚುಲ್ ಆಗಿ ಬ್ಯಾಕ್ ಗ್ರೌಂಡ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಇಷ್ಟು ಪ್ರೋಸೆಸ್ ನಡೀತಾ ಇರುತ್ತೆ. ಏನ್ ನಡೀತಾ ಇರುತ್ತೆ? ಕೊಟ್ಟಿರೋ ಕಮಾಂಡ್ ನ ಕಮಾಂಡ್ ಇಂಟರ್ಪ್ರಿಟರ್ ಇದೋ ಇಲ್ವೋ ಅಂತ ಚೆಕ್ ಮಾಡುತ್ತೆ. ಇದೆ ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಅದನ್ನ ಕರ್ನಲ್ಗೆ ಆಪರೇಟಿಂಗ್ ಸಿಸ್ಟಮ್ಗೆ ಕೊಡುತ್ತೆ. ಆ ಕರ್ನಲ್ ಆಪರೇಟಿಂಗ್ ಸಿಸ್ಟಮ್ ಆ ಕಮಾಂಡ್ ನ ಎಕ್ಸಿಕ್ಯೂಟ್ ಮಾಡಿ ಏನ್ ಔಟ್ಪುಟ್ ಬೇಕು ಔಟ್ಪುಟ್ ನ ರಿಟರ್ನ್ ಮಾಡುತ್ತೆ. ಸೊ ಈ ತರ ಎಕ್ಸಿಕ್ಯೂಷನ್ ಆಗುತ್ತೆ, ಈ ತರ ಇಂಟ್ರಾಕ್ಷನ್ ಆಗುತ್ತೆ ಬಿಟ್ವೀನ್ ಅನ್ ಯೂಸರ್ ಅಂಡ್ ಯುನಿಕ್ಸ್ ಆಪರೇಟಿಂಗ್ ಸಿಸ್ಟಮ್. ಸೊ ನೆಕ್ಸ್ಟ್ ನಾನು ಆಗ್ಲೇ ಹೇಳ್ದಂಗೆ ಯುವರ್ ಯುನಿಕ್ಸ್ ಆಪರೇಟಿಂಗ್ ಸಿಸ್ಟಮ್ ಇಸ್ ವೆರಿ ಮಚ್ ಸೆಕ್ಯೂರಿಟಿ ಕಾನ್ಶಿಯಸ್. So that's why your Unix operating system will be used in many IT industries where security plays a major role. So in this world, data plays a major role. Presently, in this present situation, data plays a major role. You might have seen many films in which they have shown that data plays a vital role. So whenever data is playing a vital role, that data needs to be secured. It needs to be protected. So for that to happen, you need to use an operating system such as Unix operating system, which has a feature of providing security. So how Unix operating system provides security, we shall look into all those things, how it provides security. So as I had already told, so whenever user is logging into the system, we can achieve multi-user capability. ಅದಾಗಲೇ ಹೇಳಿದ್ದೀನಿ, ಒಂದೇ ಒಂದು ಸಿಸ್ಟಮ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಯುನಿಕ್ಸ್ ಆಪರೇಟಿಂಗ್ ಸಿಸ್ಟಮ್ ಇಟ್ಕೊಂಡ್ರೆ ಇನ್ ರಿಮೈನಿಂಗ್ 9 ಸಿಸ್ಟಮ್ಸ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಬರೀ ಟರ್ಮಿನಲ್ ಇದ್ರೂ ಸಾಕು. ಆ ಟರ್ಮಿನಲ್ ಮುಖಾಂತರ ಯಾವ ಸಿಸ್ಟಮ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಯುನಿಕ್ಸ್ ಆಪರೇಟಿಂಗ್ ಸಿಸ್ಟಮ್ ಇನ್ಸ್ಟಾಲ್ ಮಾಡಿದ್ದೀನಿ ಅಲ್ಲಿಗೆ ಜಾಯಿನ್ ಆಗ್ತೀನಿ. ಅಲ್ಲಿಗೆ ಜಾಯಿನ್ ಆಗಿ ನಾನು ಎಕ್ಸಿಕ್ಯೂಷನ್ಸ್ ಮಾಡ್ಕೋತೀನಿ. ಸೊ ನನ್ನ ಸಿಸ್ಟಮ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಯುನಿಕ್ಸ್ ಆಪರೇಟಿಂಗ್ ಸಿಸ್ಟಮ್ ಇಲ್ಲ, ಹಾರ್ಡ್ವೇರ್ ಇಲ್ಲ, ಏನು ಇಲ್ಲ. ಬಟ್ ನಾನು ಯಾವುದೋ ಇನ್ನೊಂದು ಸಿಸ್ಟಮ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಇರುವಂತ ಯುನಿಕ್ಸ್ ಆಪರೇಟಿಂಗ್ ಸಿಸ್ಟಮ್ ನ ಹಾರ್ಡ್ವೇರ್ ನ ಯೂಸ್ ಮಾಡ್ತೀನಿ. ಸೊ ಅವಾಗ ನೀವು ಒಂದು ನೆಕ್ಸ್ಟ್ ಕ್ವಶನ್ ಕೇಳ್ಬೋದು, ಸರ್ ನೀವು ಡೈರೆಕ್ಟ್ ಆಗಿ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಯಾವುದೋ ಒಂದು ಸಿಸ್ಟಮ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಇರುವಂತ ಯುನಿಕ್ಸ್ ಆಪರೇಟಿಂಗ್ ಸಿಸ್ಟಮ್ ಹಾರ್ಡ್ವೇರ್ ನ ಹೆಂಗ್ ಯೂಸ್ ಮಾಡ್ಕೋತೀರಾ? ಸೊ ಆ ಹೆಂಗ್ ಯೂಸ್ ಮಾಡ್ಕೋತೀರಾ ಅನ್ನೋ ಕೇಪಬಿಲಿಟಿನ ಕೊಡಕ್ಕೆ ದೇರ್ ಈಸ್ ಅನ್ ಅಡ್ಮಿನಿಸ್ಟ್ರೇಟರ್ ಕಾಲ್ಡ್ ಅ ಸಿಸ್ಟಮ್ ಅಡ್ಮಿನಿಸ್ಟ್ರೇಟರ್. ಈ ಸಿಸ್ಟಮ್ ಅಡ್ಮಿನಿಸ್ಟ್ರೇಟರ್ ನನ್ಗೆ ಪರ್ಮಿಷನ್ ಕೊಡ್ಬೇಕು. ಫಸ್ಟ್ ಏನಂತ ಪರ್ಮಿಷನ್ ಕೊಡ್ಬೇಕು? ಯು ಕ್ಯಾನ್ ಯೂಸ್ the operating system, you can use the hardware in that particular system. ಆ ಸಿಸ್ಟಮ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಏನ್ ಯುನಿಕ್ಸ್ ಆಪರೇಟಿಂಗ್ ಸಿಸ್ಟಮ್ ಇದೆ, ಆ ಸಿಸ್ಟಮ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಏನ್ ಹಾರ್ಡ್ವೇರ್ ಕಾಂಪೋನೆಂಟ್ಸ್ ಇದೆ, ಅದನ್ನ ನೀನು ಯೂಸ್ ಮಾಡಬಹುದು ಅಂತ ಸಿಸ್ಟಮ್ ಅಡ್ಮಿನಿಸ್ಟ್ರೇಟರ್ ನನ್ಗೆ ಪರ್ಮಿಷನ್ ಕೊಡ್ಬೇಕು. Only when the system administrator gives me the permission, I can log into that particular system. ಸಿಸ್ಟಮ್ ಅಡ್ಮಿನಿಸ್ಟ್ರೇಟರ್ ನನ್ಗೆ ಪರ್ಮಿಷನ್ ಕೊಟ್ಟಾದ್ಮೇಲೆ ನಾನು ಆ ಪರ್ಟಿಕ್ಯುಲರ್ ಸಿಸ್ಟಮ್ಗೆ ಲಾಗಿನ್ ಆಗಿ ಡಿಫರೆಂಟ್ ರಿಸೋರ್ಸಸ್ ಏನಿದೆ ಅದನ್ನ ಆಕ್ಸೆಸ್ ಮಾಡಬಹುದು. Until the system administrator won't give any permission, I cannot log into that particular system. So this is one of the way in order to achieve security. So this is one of the way, right? Because ಯಾರು ಬೇಕಾದ್ರೂ ಹೋಗಿ ಆ ಯುನಿಕ್ಸ್ ಆಪರೇಟಿಂಗ್ ಸಿಸ್ಟಮ್ ನ ಅಲ್ಲಿರೋ ರಿಸೋರ್ಸಸ್ ನ ಆಕ್ಸೆಸ್ ಮಾಡಕ್ಕಾಗಲ್ಲ. ಅನ್ಲೆಸ್ ದ ಸಿಸ್ಟಮ್ ಅಡ್ಮಿನಿಸ್ಟ್ರೇಟರ್ ಗಿವ್ಸ್ ಪರ್ಮಿಷನ್, ಇಟ್ ಕ್ಯಾನಾಟ್ ಹ್ಯಾಪನ್. ಸೊ ಅದರಿಂದಾಗಿ ಇಟ್ ಕ್ಯಾನ್ ಪ್ರೊವೈಡ್ ಸೆಕ್ಯೂರಿಟಿ ಇನ್ ಎ ಯೂಜ್ ವೇ. ಬಿಕಾಸ್ ಯಾರು ಯೂಸರ್ಸ್ ಲಾಗಿನ್ ಆಗ್ತಾ ಇದ್ದಾರೆ ಅನ್ನೋದು ಗೊತ್ತಿರುತ್ತೆ ನಮ್ಗೆ. ಸೊ ಅದರಿಂದಾಗಿ ಯೂಜ್ ವೇ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಸೆಕ್ಯೂರಿಟಿನ ಪ್ರೊವೈಡ್ ಮಾಡಬಹುದು. ಸೊ ಯುನಿಕ್ಸ್ ಆಪರೇಟಿಂಗ್ ಸಿಸ್ಟಮ್ ನ ಸನ್ ಮೈಕ್ರೋ ಸಿಸ್ಟಮ್ ಅವರು ಡೆವಲಪ್ ಮಾಡಕ್ಕೆ ಶುರು ಮಾಡ್ತಾರೆ. ಈ Sun Microsystem, they produced different versions of Unix operating system. They produced many different versions of Unix operating system. One such version was Solaris 8 ಅಂತ ಕರೀತಾರೆ. ಈಗ ನಿಮ್ ವಿಂಡೋಸ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ನೋಡ್ಬೇಕಾದ್ರೆ ಫಸ್ಟ್ XP ಬಂತು, XP ಆದ್ಮೇಲೆ ವಿಂಡೋಸ್ 7, ವಿಂಡೋಸ್ 2000 ಇತ್ತು, ಫಸ್ಟ್ XP ಬಂತು, ವಿಂಡೋಸ್ 7 ಬಂತು, ವಿಂಡೋಸ್ 8 ಬಂತು, ಈಗ ವಿಂಡೋಸ್ 10 ಇದೆ. ಇಟ್ ಮೈಟ್ ಗೆಟ್ ಚೇಂಜ್ ಇನ್ ದ ಕಮಿಂಗ್ ಇಯರ್ಸ್. ಸೊ ಅದೇ ರೀತಿ ನಿಮ್ ಯೂನಿಕ್ಸ್ ಆಪರೇಟಿಂಗ್ ಸಿಸ್ಟಮ್ ನಲ್ಲೂ ದೇರ್ ಆರ್ ಮೆನಿ ಡಿಫರೆಂಟ್ ವರ್ಷನ್. ಒನ್ ಸಚ್ ವರ್ಷನ್ ಇಸ್ ಸೊಲಾರಿಸ್ 8. ಸೊ ಯಾವ ರೀತಿ ಸೆಕ್ಯೂರಿಟಿ ಇದೆ ಅನ್ನೋದನ್ನ ಇಲ್ಲೊಂದು ಎಕ್ಸಾಂಪಲ್ ಕೊಟ್ಟಿದ್ದೀನಿ, ಎಕ್ಸಾಂಪಲ್ ಮುಖಾಂತರ ಎಕ್ಸ್ಪ್ಲೈನ್ ಮಾಡ್ತೀನಿ ನೋಡಿ. ಸೊ ಈ ಫಸ್ಟ್ ಕುಮಾರ್ ಅಂತ ಏನ್ ಯೂಸರ್ ಇರ್ತಾನೆ, ಆ ಕುಮಾರನ ಯೂಸರು ರಿಜಿಸ್ಟರ್ ಆಗಿರ್ಬೇಕು. ಆ ಸಿಸ್ಟಮ್ ಅಡ್ಮಿನಿಸ್ಟ್ರೇಟರ್ ಹತ್ರ ಹೋಗಿ ನಾನು ಆ ಸಿಸ್ಟಮ್ದು ಯೂನಿಕ್ಸ್ ಆಪರೇಟಿಂಗ್ ಸಿಸ್ಟಮ್ ನ ಮತ್ತೆ ಅಲ್ಲಿರುವಂತ ಹಾರ್ಡ್ವೇರ್ ರಿಸೋರ್ಸಸ್ ನ ಆಕ್ಸೆಸ್ ಮಾಡ್ಬೇಕು, ನನ್ನ ರಿಜಿಸ್ಟರ್ ಮಾಡ್ಕೋ ಅಂತ ಕುಮಾರ್ ಹೋಗಿ ಕೇಳ್ಕೊತಾನೆ. ಸೊ ಕುಮಾರ್ ಹೋಗಿ ಕೇಳಿದಾಗ ರಿಜಿಸ್ಟ್ರೇಷನ್ ಎಲ್ಲ ಕಂಪ್ಲೀಟ್ ಆಗುತ್ತೆ. ಒನ್ಸ್ ರಿಜಿಸ್ಟ್ರೇಷನ್ ಗೆಟ್ಸ್ ಕಂಪ್ಲೀಟೆಡ್, ನಾನೊಂದು ಟರ್ಮಿನಲ್ ಇಟ್ಕೊಂಡು ಕೂತ್ಕೋತೀನಿ. ಟರ್ಮಿನಲ್ ಮೀನ್ಸ್ ಒನ್ಲಿ ಎ ಮಾನಿಟರ್, ನಥಿಂಗ್ ಎಲ್ಸ್. ಆ ಟರ್ಮಿನಲ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಮಾನಿಟರ್, ಕೀಬೋರ್ಡ್, ಮೌಸ್ ಮಾತ್ರ ಇಟ್ಕೊಂಡಿರ್ತೀನಿ. ಸಿಪಿ ಗಿಪಿ ಏನು ಇರಲ್ಲ, ಆಪರೇಟಿಂಗ್ ಸಿಸ್ಟಮ್ ಏನು ಇರಲ್ಲ. ಸೊ ಆ ಟರ್ಮಿನಲ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ನಾನು ಆ ಇನ್ಸ್ಟಾಲ್ ಯಾವ ಸಿಸ್ಟಮ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಆಪರೇಟಿಂಗ್ ಸಿಸ್ಟಮ್ ಹಾರ್ಡ್ವೇರ್ ರಿಸೋರ್ಸಸ್ ಇದೆ ಅದನ್ನ ಆಕ್ಸೆಸ್ ಮಾಡ್ಬೇಕು ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಫಸ್ಟ್ ನನ್ಗೆ ಲಾಗಿನ್ ಅಂತ ಕೇಳುತ್ತೆ. ಇದೆಲ್ಲ ಕಮಾಂಡ್ ಪ್ರಾಂಪ್ಟ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಆಗೋದು. ಕಮಾಂಡ್ ಪ್ರಾಂಪ್ಟ್ ಅಲ್ಲೇ ನಾವೆಲ್ಲ ಇಂಟ್ರಾಕ್ಷನ್ಸ್ ಮಾಡ್ತಾ ಇರ್ತೀವಿ. ನಾನು ಆಗ್ಲೇ ಹೇಳ್ದೆ, ನಾವ್ ಏನೇ ಇಂಟ್ರಾಕ್ಷನ್ಸ್ ಯೂನಿಕ್ಸ್ ಆಪರೇಟಿಂಗ್ ಸಿಸ್ಟಮ್ ಜೊತೆ ಮಾಡಬೇಕು ಅಂದ್ರೂ ದಟ್ ಹ್ಯಾಪನ್ಸ್ ವಿತ್ ದ ಹೆಲ್ಪ್ ಆಫ್ ಕಮಾಂಡ್ಸ್. ಸೊ ಕಮಾಂಡ್ಸ್ ನಾವು ಕೀ ಇನ್ ಮಾಡೋದು ಕಮಾಂಡ್ ಪ್ರಾಂಪ್ಟ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ. ಸೊ ಕಮಾಂಡ್ ಪ್ರಾಂಪ್ಟ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಲಾಗಿನ್ ಅಂತ ಕೇಳುತ್ತೆ, ಅವಾಗ ನಾನು ಕುಮಾರ್ ಅಂತ ಕೊಡ್ತೇನೆ. ನೆಕ್ಸ್ಟ್ ಒಂದೊಂದು ಪರ್ಟಿಕ್ಯುಲರ್ ಯೂಸರ್ಗೂ ಸಿಸ್ಟಮ್ ಅಡ್ಮಿನಿಸ್ಟ್ರೇಟರ್ ಒಂದು ಪಾಸ್ವರ್ಡ್ ಅಸೈನ್ ಮಾಡಿರ್ತಾರೆ, ಅಥವಾ ನಾವೇ ಕ್ರಿಯೇಟ್ ಮಾಡ್ಕೊಂಡಿರ್ತೀವಿ. ಸೊ ಕುಮಾರ್ ಅಂತ ಲಾಗಿನ್ ಯೂಸರ್ ನೇಮ್ ಕೊಟ್ಟಾದ್ಮೇಲೆ ಪಾಸ್ವರ್ಡ್ ಕೇಳುತ್ತೆ, ಪಾಸ್ವರ್ಡ್ ನ ಕೀ ಇನ್ ಮಾಡ್ತೀನಿ. ಎರಡೂ ಮ್ಯಾಚ್ ಆಯ್ತು ಅಂದ್ರೆ, ಯೂಸರ್ ನೇಮ್ ಪಾಸ್ವರ್ಡ್ ಎರಡೂ ಮ್ಯಾಚ್ ಆಯ್ತು ಅಂದ್ರೆ ದಟ್ ಮೀನ್ಸ್ ಈ ಕುಮಾರು ಈ ಪಾಸ್ವರ್ಡ್ ಜೊತೆ ರಿಜಿಸ್ಟರ್ ಆಗಿದ್ದಾನೆ ಅಂತ ಮ್ಯಾಚ್ ಆಯ್ತು ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಅವಾಗ ನಾನು ಸಕ್ಸಸ್ಫುಲಿ ಲಾಗಿನ್ ಆದೆ ಆ ಪರ್ಟಿಕ್ಯುಲರ್ ಸಿಸ್ಟಮ್ಗೆ. ಒನ್ ಸಕ್ಸಸ್ಫುಲ್ ಲಾಗಿನ್ ಆದ್ರೆ then you will see a prompt called as command prompt. ಇದನ್ನ ಕಮಾಂಡ್ ಪ್ರಾಂಪ್ಟ್, ಇಲ್ಲಿ ಡಾಲರ್ ಅಂತ ಏನ್ ಸಿಂಬಲ್ ಇದೆ ಇದನ್ನ ಕಮಾಂಡ್ ಪ್ರಾಂಪ್ಟ್ ಅಂತ ಕರೀತಾರೆ. So that means you have entered the system which has the Unix operating system and also the hardware resource. ಸಕ್ಸಸ್ಫುಲ್ ಆಗಿ ಕರೆಕ್ಟ್ ಯೂಸರ್ ನೇಮ್ ಕರೆಕ್ಟ್ ಪಾಸ್ವರ್ಡ್ ಕೊಟ್ಟು ಆ ಸಿಸ್ಟಮ್ಗೆ ಎಂಟರ್ ಆಗಿದ್ದೀರಾ. ಸೊ ಈ ಕಮಾಂಡ್ ಪ್ರಾಂಪ್ಟ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಡಾಲರ್ ಏನ್ ಸಿಗ್ತಾ ಇದೆ ಕಾಣಿಸ್ತಾ ಇದೆ, ಇಲ್ಲಿಂದ ನೀವು ಕಮಾಂಡ್ಸ್ ಗಳನ್ನ ಕೊಡ್ತಾ ಕೊಡ್ತಾ ಆ ಸಿಸ್ಟಮ್ ಜೊತೆ ಇಂಟರಾಕ್ಟ್ ಮಾಡ್ಕೊಂಡು ಹೋಗ್ಬೋದು. ಸೊ ಈ ತರ ನೀವು ಸೆಕ್ಯೂರಿಟಿನ ಅಚೀವ್ ಮಾಡ್ತೀರಾ. ಸೊ ದಿಸ್ ಪ್ರಾಂಪ್ಟ್ ಆರ್ ದಿಸ್ ಈಸ್ ಕಾಲ್ಡ್ ಅಸ್ ಕಮಾಂಡ್ ಪ್ರಾಂಪ್ಟ್, ಆರ್ ದಿಸ್ ಕ್ಯಾನ್ ಬಿ ಕಾಲ್ಡ್ ಅಸ್ ಶೆಲ್ ಅಂತಾನು ಕರೀಬಹುದು, ಅಥವಾ ಕಮಾಂಡ್ ಇಂಟರ್ಪ್ರಿಟರ್ ಅಂತಾನು ಕರೀಬಹುದು. So this is how you can log into a system which has the Unix operating system and the hardware resource. First you need to get registered with the system administrator, then you need to log in with the username with which you have registered and also with the correct password with which you have registered. If both the username and password are correct, then you will receive a command prompt with a dollar symbol like this. Once you receive this dollar symbol, it indicates successful login. Then you can give commands which will be executed by your Unix operating system. Okay, na? So let's wind up this particular session. I don't want you people to get fed up with so many things. So you people go through these things, watch the session again and again, just go through the things. So once you become familiar with these basic concepts, then we can move to the further concepts. In my next session, I will be dealing with many commands, how we can interact with the Unix operating system. On the Unix operating system ಜೊತೆಗೆ ಯಾವ ರೀತಿ interact ಮಾಡಬೇಕು ಅನ್ನೋದಕ್ಕೆ ಯಾವ ತರ different types of, there are thousands, there are lakhs together of commands. ಸೊ ಅದೆಲ್ಲ ಕಮಾಂಡ್ಸ್ ಗಳನ್ನ ಕೊಟ್ಟು ನಾನು ಯೂನಿಕ್ಸ್ ಆಪರೇಟಿಂಗ್ ಸಿಸ್ಟಮ್ ಜೊತೆ ಇಂಟ್ರಾಕ್ಟ್ ಮಾಡುವಾಗ ಯಾವ ತರ ಔಟ್ಪುಟ್ ಗಳು ಬರುತ್ತೆ ಅನ್ನೋದನ್ನ ನೆಕ್ಸ್ಟ್ ಸೆಷನ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ವಿ ಶಾಲ್ ಅಬ್ಸರ್ವ್. ಸೊ ಇನ್ ದಿಸ್ ಪರ್ಟಿಕ್ಯುಲರ್ ಸೆಷನ್ ವಿ ವೆಂಟ್ ಥ್ರೂ ಸಮ್ ಆಫ್ ದ ಬೇಸಿಕ್ ಕಾನ್ಸೆಪ್ಟ್ಸ್. So the subject name is Unix programming. The subject code is 18CS56. So first I explained what is an operating system. Then I explained how Windows looked as an operating system. What is Unix, which is nothing but an operating system. When it was developed, who developed it, how your Unix operating system is different from Windows, which are the three main features of your Unix operating system, which are multi-user, multitasking, and security, how it can run on every particular hardware, how we can interact with Unix operating system. We cannot use graphical user interface. We need to use commands. Once you give commands, how they are executed, it needs to be understood. The command interpreter will check whether there is a command by that name. ಕಮಾಂಡ್ ಇತ್ತು ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಅವಾಗ ಕರ್ನಲ್ಗೆ ಅಥವಾ ಆಪರೇಟಿಂಗ್ ಸಿಸ್ಟಮ್ಗೆ ಕೊಡುತ್ತೆ, ಅದು ಎಕ್ಸಿಕ್ಯೂಟ್ ಮಾಡಿ ಔಟ್ಪುಟ್ ಕೊಡುತ್ತೆ. ಯಾವ ರೀತಿ ಸೆಕ್ಯೂರಿಟಿನ ಅಚೀವ್ ಮಾಡ್ತೀವಿ, ಎಲ್ಲ ಯೂಸರ್ಸ್ ಡೈರೆಕ್ಟ್ ಆಗಿ ಹೋಗಿ ಲಾಗಿನ್ ಆಗ್ಬಿಡಕ್ಕಾಗಲ್ಲ ಯೂನಿಕ್ಸ್ ಆಪರೇಟಿಂಗ್ ಸಿಸ್ಟಮ್ಗೆ. ಫಸ್ಟ್ ಅವ್ರು ಹೋಗಿ ರಿಜಿಸ್ಟರ್ ಆಗ್ಬೇಕು. ಸಿಸ್ಟಮ್ ಅಡ್ಮಿನಿಸ್ಟ್ರೇಟರ್ ರಿಜಿಸ್ಟ್ರೇಷನ್ ಮಾಡ್ಕೊಂಡ್ಮೇಲೆ ದೇ ಶುಡ್ ಲಾಗ್ ಇನ್ ವಿತ್ ಕರೆಕ್ಟ್ ಯೂಸರ್ ನೇಮ್ ಅಂಡ್ ಪಾಸ್ವರ್ಡ್. ಅವಾಗ ನಿಮ್ಗೆ ಕಮೆಂಟ್ ಪ್ರಾಂಪ್ಟ್ ಬರುತ್ತೆ. ಆಗ ನೀವು ಎಕ್ಸಿಕ್ಯೂಷನ್ ಅಥವಾ ಇಂಟ್ರಾಕ್ಷನ್ ನ ಸ್ಟಾರ್ಟ್ ಮಾಡ್ಬೋದು. So hope you people might have got an understanding of what is Unix, how it works, how it is different from Windows, how it is more advantageous than compared to Windows. In this present world in which we are giving more importance to data security, how your Unix operating system will add up to that data security. So these are the major things we learned in this particular session. So in our next session, I will give some examples of different commands which can be executed and what are all the outputs we will get when we execute those commands. So if you are having any doubts with respect to this particular session, you can ping me. So thank you so much. Thank you again.